You're listening to the Smart Agency Masterclass with me, Jason Swank, and we're bringing you this episode courtesy of our friends at Wix Studio. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Hey, ladies, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. So tell us who you are and what you do. And welcome back to the show, too.
Thank you. I'm Copple. I was here before, but it's been a couple years. I am the founder of Full Swing PR, based in Boise, Idaho, and Bozeman, Montana. And I'm really proud of my business partnership with Holly and how I've moved from a career as a journalist into PR land. And that we've scaled this business to over $1 million in less than 4 years, which is something not a lot of women agency owners do, or women business owners in general. So love that. And Holly.
Hello, this is my first time here. Caitlin did it solo last time, but I'm so happy to be here. I'm Holly Conti. I'm zooming in from upstate New York, and I'm the managing partner at Full Swing PR. And actually, it's kind of an interesting story how we became partners, because Full Swing was founded solely by Caitlin. So maybe we can dig into that at some point. But
yeah, definitely. Yeah. How did that work? I always find that when partners come together, it's the one partner feels so isolated and alone. It was like, I need someone else to have the same frustration I do. Is that the same? Is that how it formed?
Not necessarily. I just really liked Holly, but she was pregnant when I started Full Swing and then had a newborn. So the whole idea of not having health insurance was not that appealing. So she played hard to get for a while, but she did some moonlighting for me, helped me along the way, and then was the first employee in February 2020, right before the world changed. But when she came on board, she really wanted in as an owner as opposed to just making more money. So I was like, sure, great. You want to do this together? Awesome. My favorite thing is to build things with Holly. So it's been a lot of fun.
We were agency partners, agency friends. We had met at an agency, and of the two of us, Caitlin's the more risk-forward person, and so she was ready to take the risk, and it took me a year to really dive off with her, but I'm so glad we did. Here we are, 6 years later.
So which one is the idea person and which one is the implementer?
We get asked that a lot, and I actually think we both come up with a lot of good ideas. I would say that we are both a strong DIs on the disc, if you do that, the whole behavioral analysis thing. I would say Holly, just because she worked more on the client side and account side, and I was always kind of in PR world at the agency level. She's taught herself to be better at systems, probably than I am. Self-taught.
Yeah. I'd say we don't have the traditional, visionary integrator system. I think we tried that at first, but I think we both have the visionary piece. And at times, like Caitlin, oddly, is really good at spreadsheets and really good at focusing on that piece. You wouldn't know it because she is that big, creative thinker, right? But she can get really granular and specific. And I'm really good at managing the team and getting into the nitty-gritty there. And so I think we take turns in visionary and integrator positions. And I actually think that that's the nuance. It makes it complicated, but I think that that's the nuance, is that we both step in and step out of both of those positions at times.
I think the other piece that maybe is interesting is we kind of treated it like a job share, especially in the early years, because we both had young kids. And so we kind of we have such good communication and a good solid friendship that I think is partly works in work life because it was forged in an agency setting, that we're really good at being like, okay, I'm tapping out, you're tapping in. Here's all the things. Here's my list. And now that our kids are older, it's, we've done, I think, a better job of carving out what are our lanes going to be for now, but having that open conversation about it.
Well, it's tough. You got to it took me a long time because in the very beginning, I was creating myself a job. That's really well. And a job that I can never take off, which if you think about is the worst job in the world. That's the curse, but it's also later on, it's also the benefit or the blessing that you get. But in the very beginning, I was talking to someone the other day. They're like, what would you give advice to people starting out? I was like, it's not sunshine and rainbows in the very beginning. It's actually tough. And I'm glad you guys found each other to kind of balance that, right? I always find that when we jump on our mastermind meetings, there's, about 25% of it's kind of therapy. People just want to be heard and going, I just need some good advice right now because I had my biggest client leave, or, this person did this. And it's easier doing it with someone versus being solo. People that do an agency solo, I commend them. I'm like, man, that's pretty tough.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many times where a contract gets pulled out from underneath us, or something happens where we're truthfully looking at payroll. And it's like, if I couldn't call Caitlin and be like, all right, we're going to be okay. It's going to be okay, and have that pump up system together and know that we're in it together, it would feel so lonely. And at the same time, that not to say that it doesn't make partnerships are complicated. It's another marriage. And so there is that element of it that can be challenging, but I would so much rather have a partner in it.
Yeah. Well, I think too, if people are looking for partners or to make sure you have the right partner, it's about making sure your values align. And I think that's with your whole team anyway, right? Like, that's why if I found my exact twin, I think that would be a complete nightmare, because we would just be talking about how we can invent the whole world over again, versus like having someone be like, well, let's kind of step back. Like, my team they are so different from me in the thinking, but we all believe in the same thing. We all have the same, core values, going forward, and it just, makes it work. I do want to talk about practicing what you preach. And I felt like in our agency, we did a really good job at this in some things. And then in some things, it was horrible. So I'll tell you what we practiced, what we preached. I'll ask you guys to talk about it on your side. We always redesigned our website every year, because I always felt, and that was our core service. But all of our competitors would be like, oh, don't look at our website. We're so busy working on our clients' website, we can't do it. I was like, it's like kind of like the shoemaker's kid or shoeless. And it drove me nuts. So what does that mean to you guys, practice what you preach?
Well, I'm just so happy that our new website will be out by the time this podcast comes out, because
don't look at it yet.
But yeah, I think with PR, so much about it is tenacity and consistency, and just always being out in the world and, meeting people and asking for what you need, because I really do believe people want to help you. I want to help other people. And I think that if you lead with that spirit of service and you're willing to help others, that will come back to you fourfold. We have an interesting story. I think it's unique. Like, we have a remote agency that worked to our advantage during COVID. We've been able to scale from kind of unlikely places, but again, no one really cares because we have the receipts at this point. But like, most people's PR agency is not headquartered in Boise, Idaho and Syracuse, New York, right? But at the end of the day, we've done it, and we've done it in a way that I think hopefully is inspiring and a bit out of the box. And, I'm always happy to share that story with others, whether it's on a podcast or whether it's in thought leadership for one of the PR trades, et cetera.
I was going to say, I'd add that we work with professional services companies primarily. So we're working with law firms, architecture firms, designers, consultants, and they are often winning clients in the same way that we are. We're not an RFP-based agency. Primarily, we're winning clients based on our relationships. And so we actually know how our clients are selling, and we really intimately understand the challenges that they have, because we're having them internally as well. We know what the cost of hiring an agency like us would be on our business, and often our clients they're usually larger than ours to afford our services, but not by that much. And so I think also really understanding how our clients get their clients, and understanding the nuances of what the leadership team is holding when they're deciding to hire us or rehire us or stay with us, just gives us that edge too, of like, we know what it means to have to bring that revenue in and to make the most count of your work. And so we really understand that ROI piece.
I try to do this in our agency, and I tell other people to do this. You should always treat your own agency and your own company as an individual client. And it almost acts as like one of my favorite shows is Undercover Boss. I mean, obviously they know you're not undercover, right? Like, we're a small team, unless they're complete morons that you fired.
Yeah.
But you can be like, man, you're asking for all this information and I have to do this all by myself. Like, this is the dumbest process ever. And then you realize you're like, I created this when I first started to make it easy for me, but it's not easy for the client. and then you start realizing the things you need to change, you got to treat yourself as a client. And then you can really start kind of seeing the process in someone else's eyes. I've hired so many agencies. So I always hire outside the mastermind because I don't want to collude that. I might change my mind because all the agencies I've been hiring outside are completely terrible. They're horrible, right? Like, yeah, their onboarding is like, fill out this 90-page document all by yourself. And I'm like, but I went over a lot of this in the sales process. Or they'll get me a landing page that looks like a third grader designed, or they used AI that has grammar errors and the picture of me looks like an alien. And I'm like, what is this? Like, it's so aggravating. But if you could kind of do it for yourself, and I know they're not trying to do it on purpose, but if they kind of practice what they preach, I think that would solve a lot of things.
And I think having an agency that cares as much about your business as their own business goes a long way too, And I think wearing the hat of a small business owner that's trying to grow, like, you understand how important your pipeline is and how much better it feels when you have 4 times the amount of sales you actually need to meet your annual budget. And if we can help deliver that, take people from publicity to pipeline, like, that's what we're all about. And I think that is where some typical PR agencies are really just focused on headlines and placements and not necessarily connecting the dots to sales. And I think that's where we really shine and why clients tend to stick with us.
I love what you said. Do you use that as a tagline, from publicity to pipeline?
Well, I just made it up yesterday, if you really want to know, but I'm testing it. I think it worked well.
I love it.
Wait, that was my first time hearing it too. When she said that, I was like,
I selected to you yesterday, but yes, I selected a lot of things.
So don't Frank the Tank. That's kind of the Frank the Tank moments, right? Like,
Totally.
Every once in a while I say something brilliant and then I'm like, what happened? I blacked out.
I have to write it down immediately.
Usually in just black print.
I like it too. And I think that is what people want, right? Like, that's the missing piece sometimes, because it feels great to, get on Good Morning America or whatever. But I feel more excited and lit up when we have a client that, has just reached 7 figures, that gets on a perfect industry podcast and that yields a couple of 6-figure contracts for her. Like, that's awesome. That's the win.
Look, your agency adapts for every client, right? Your builder should do the same. That's why Wix Studio is built for the way you actually create. AI-powered site mapping lets you get straight down to the design. Whether you shape things in Figma or start in Studio, your vision's coming to life quicker with no-code animations and built-in responsiveness. And for client growth that actually scale, you've got extendable business solutions and a dynamic CMS. Scale your agency at wixstudio.com.
The tagline or the elevator pitch needs to be quick, that you can remember. And I can't tell you how many times I talk to agency owners that tell me what they do, their elevator pitch, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, wah, wah, wah. I don't know what you said. But like, you said it one time and I still remember it, publicity to pipeline. And then even like, if you go on our website, like, I changed it. And this is also designed to keep people away that don't like foul language, because that's kind of us, right? So like, if you go to our website, it's like, we take agency owners from fuck this to heck yeah, right? And it's just, it gets people curious, be like, well, how do you do that? And that's the key about it. But I love that tagline. So if you came up with it yesterday, make sure you implement it tomorrow.
Well, people will hear this much later. They're going to go to our website. They're going to see that as the headline. Yeah.
In Magic, they'll be like, man, these ladies are fast implementers. I'll be like, yeah, they are. The podcast magic, right? Last thing I want to talk about with you guys is, how do you guys do quarterly planning? Because I feel that a lot of agencies only do kind of yearly planning, even though people think they do quarterly planning. So walk me through what you guys do there.
A lot changes in a year, especially these days. Like, we were talking about the 6 years Full Swing has been in business. We've been through Trump 1.0, pandemic, and now, I'm sure other things too, but like Trump 2.0, tariff central, like what
AI.
the heck? on AI.
Yeah,
So much
exactly.
has changed. And so I don't think annual is enough at all. And so while we start in Q4 of the preceding year doing an annual plan, those quarterly check-ins are essential. We have a leadership team that meets every week, and our guidepost, our agenda, if you will, is really checking in on that quarterly plan and making sure that we're pivoting and that we're trying to read the tea leaves as far as where the market's going. So,
Yeah,
Is it based on top line revenue? Is it based on net revenue? Is it based on other metrics? What's the goal?
yeah, so we have a top line revenue, gross revenue goal that we're trying to hit. And then we also have a profit margin that we want to hit, and that can change. So, like last year, we were really obsessed with having a more profitable business just because that was a metric we hadn't focused on as much. We've been really obsessed with getting to 1 million.
Surprise.
Surprise. And so we focused on hitting 40% profit margins. And this year, because we're in growth mode, we're focused more on 25%. And so that feels like a better place to be for us. We're also just paying attention to like, what is our pipeline doing? Like, where are we getting no's? Where are we getting yeses? What's our conversion rate? Is it working to have kind of generally we have 2 discovery calls. So the first one's kind of a vibe check. Like, do we like them? Do they like us? And then if that is a go, and do we think we can help them? Then we create a more customized proposal within the retainer frameworks with which we work. And usually people move to contract after that. So it's all about getting, making sure we have the right number of qualified leads, that we're getting them on calls and really measuring that conversion rate. And if that conversion rate starts to change, we know that maybe there's more fear in the marketplace. People don't necessarily want the long-term commitment. And so how can we give them something that is easy for us to deliver, really helpful to them, and gives them a chance to try and see what the sauce is all about. Once they have the sauce, they're going to want to buy 6 months or a year.
We started really every month. We kind of look at the leading indicators, right? Looking at the KPIs, both on, and I'll break it down really easy for everyone to kind of follow. And you should do this too, because it will track how you do in the next quarter. So we'll look at how many visits we have to the website, how many visits to the key pages we want them to go, how many opt-ins, how many people apply for the mastermind or a blueprint, how many people actually book a call. Okay, that's a whole different number. How many people actually buy our foot in the door offer, and then how many people convert. Then we compare all of those numbers, and then we can look at it and going, oh man, a bunch of people are not booking from the application. So that's a whole nother segment. Like, what do we need to do? What kind of headline do we need to change? What email do we need to send? Do we need to get a phone number and text them? Like, looking at those little things, like those little movements that mean the whole difference. Like, whether the next quarter is going to be fantastic. And most people don't do that. They don't have KPIs. They just look at the top line revenue, like a lot of us used to do. And we're like, oh yeah, I made it over 1 million. Well, congrats, but you're not profitable.
Yeah, we have 5 business KPIs, and then every employee's KPIs flush out from those, if you will. So yeah, I think it's helpful to have a KPI dashboard if you don't.
If I were to say what our most important number is, the thing that we track the most, it's actually not that revenue piece, it's discovery calls. Because we know that if we have 10 discovery calls, we'll probably convert 50% of those if they're qualified. And if they said, yes, we want to move to proposal round, we have 10 people in proposal round, we're going to convert at least 50. And so we're always looking at that number. That's the number that I'm most interested in impacting every month. And so that's my North Star.
Well, we need to, after the podcast, we need to talk about implementing a foot in the door for you. If it's 50%, we could get that up to 75, 80.
Let's talk about it.
Need a foot in the door.
I would love your take on this, because I don't know if this is something you cover in your mastermind. Hopefully we'll be members one of these years. But I think that, like, how do you position marketing, especially PR, as a must-have and not just a nice-to-have, especially in this economy? Because I think we all know as marketers, like, you should double down. If a recession is approaching, you got to be out there marketing, right? It is not the time to put your foot off the gas. But I think the general kind of professional services types of business owners that we're talking to don't always see it as essential.
Might be talking to the wrong people. That's the thing, right? So it's kind of the same thing for our mastermind. Some people look at the mastermind as a nice to have. Those are not the people that we go after. The people that join are the ones that we have to have this. They cut other things before that because they can be around other people that can see the things they can't see. It's a true going back and forth. So you just got to think about really who your best clients are. What makes them up? What do they believe? What are the challenges that they have? I always tell people, if you're going to be paid on performance only, who would you do it for and what would you do for them? And it's not probably one particular service, it's more of a solution. And so by doing that, then you ensure you get the right people. That is a must, especially with your new tagline that you executed last or yesterday with, right? Like publicity to pipeline. You concentrate on the people that really respect a pipeline, not just there's certain lawyers that just want to get on ABC. They don't care about, like, they just want to outdo their buddy that is a lawyer down the street. Those are not your clients.
Correct. Yeah. People who care about impact over ego, for sure.
Exactly. Right. But you got to kind of think about, like, what's that low end offer to build that trust, to show impact, show value. Like I always tell people, the offering ladder is this. It's like a free discovery call, right? For 30 minutes to qualify them.
Yeah.
Can I help you? Do I want to help you? That's really how our discovery calls go.
For sure.
Then that discovery call is positioning a paid blueprint of something of value to that prospect. So now you're going to convert them to a paying customer. Now they're 20 times more likely to work with you if they have a good engagement. Then that blueprint, or whatever that's called, in there, you point out the biggest problem that you can solve really easy that leads to a project. Now you've proven value, you've led to a project, you've shown more return, then it's easy to sell the huge retainer at double the price.
Yeah.
So
I like that. We need to talk about that.
Yeah. So that's what I would tell you. Just focus on the right clients, the right prospects. Like there's no such thing as a bad agency client. There's only a bad prospect or a bad process.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time it's a bad prospect.
Yeah.
Unless you hire agencies like I've hired. I'm like, they got shitty processes. I look at them like, can I just help you with this? Like, let me fix this. Because you're really good at sales and marketing, but you suck at execution.
That's the real test right there with agencies, because marketers, we tend to be good at talking the talk, right? And you really do have to find an agency that knows how to walk the walk.
Well, you know how you can be on the top 99%? Just do what you say you're going to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not hard. Well, it's not rocket science.
I think what happens is that if I were to give, say, an agency owner who you've had a poor experience with, who doesn't do what they promised they would, if I were to give them the best benefit of the doubt, they really do want to deliver, right? It's probably that they are unclear about what their solution is. They're unclear about their process. So they might be in a conversation with you and be really excited about what they possibly could do. They actually don't know how they're doing it yet. And so what we try to do when we're communicating with our clients is we walk them exactly through, like, this is exactly how we go about getting wins. We look at the problem, we identify these pieces, and we walk them through our process. So it's really clear about not just the results that we're getting for clients or what we are promising that we can do for you, but we're going to show you our step by step. And I've had team members before say, and I'm curious what you would say to this, but they've said, like, are we giving away too much? Are we telling them too much about our process? And I've always felt, first of all, no, it's all in the execution. I can give somebody a plan and they're not going to work it as good as we are because they don't have our same talent. But also, businesses are so good at talking about what they do now. It's harder and harder for someone purchasing a service to decipher value. I think everyone knows how to show value now. And so how do they really make a decision? And I think the more that you can give them that proof of process, the more that they really understand what a day-to-day working relationship would be. And the more clear you are on both ends. We're clear on what we're going to deliver. We've said it. So you can't come back and say you didn't do this. I'm going to tell you my exact process and what to expect. And then there's no question at the end.
They want to make sure that they trust you. And if you walk me through the exact process so I could actually go do it, well, first off, I don't want to go do it. I just want to understand the process. Like I heard a great thing at a conference I spoke at. Someone was like, "Hey, how many of you like steak?" Everyone raised their hand. And it's like, "How many of you like butchering a cow?"
Yeah.
No one.
No.
Like I should have raised my hand just so to keep people away from me. Be like, "Yes, I love butchering cows," just to mess with them. But I don't. PETA, please don't come after me. So.
Yeah. And not to say that you bore them with it, right? But it's clear expectations and clear delivery.
One other thing we did recently that might interest your audience, Jason, is we did a private podcast as strictly a business development tactic. And we've just used it selectively to help move people along their buying journey, if you will. And our topic was how to hire a PR agency. And I think what's powerful about it, and we can share it in the show notes if you want, in case people want to maybe emulate it for their own agencies. But I think it's cool because we basically just made an episode for all the questions we had asked all the time, right? Of people and not understanding what kind of PR support they need, how agencies work, like what agencies need to be successful, and just kind of those what to expect process questions that you were talking about.
Yeah, I always tell everybody do a video or some kind of audio that you can send to people before you meet with them for the first time. And I always say, I want you to watch this 8-minute video. This is going to answer the most frequently asked questions that prospects ask. And the reason I want you to watch it ahead of time is so we can totally focus on your business. And then you're not asking me, how long have your agency been around? How many people? How do you chart? Like it lays it all out. Like all the FAQs are in this video that we would send out. And then they're like, okay, cool. Like, so then I can totally focus on you. And they're like, oh, okay. I like me. That's my favorite subject.
I like that. That's smart. Did most of the people listen to it? Or watch it?
And what I would do is as soon as they book a meeting, we email them and we say, we have this super secret software to let us know if you watch it or not. And we do, right? Like most automations are going to be like, oh, did they click on the link? And to see if they're actually serious. And that's why we specify it's only 8 minutes long and it's going to answer all the questions. And we do this so we can focus on you.
Yeah.
And you're the favorite subject of you. So, it's like, all right, I'm going to go do that. Because I would feel like you jump on a meeting and like the first half hour is all about you. And they're already bored.
Yeah. I mean, I think we did that in our early years. I remember times where I remember our discovery calls being too focused on us and we get off and be like, that didn't feel right. Why? Oh, we were talking about our business for 20 minutes. That was early on, year one. But you learn that quickly. Oh, we need to spotlight. We know what questions to ask now. We know exactly what we're going to do next. And so here's the information that we need from this. I
think you have to move from that proving yourself energy into really solving their problem, and making it centered on the client.
Cool. Awesome. Well, ladies, thanks so much for coming back on the show and joining the show for the first time. It was awesome. I can't believe it's already been like 30 minutes. Time flies. I love it. I love having more than one guest on. So thanks for both of you coming on. We'll have links to the resources that we mentioned in the show. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, share it out. And until next time, have a swank day.